Minneapolis. Alicia is tracking your reaction in this morning's Digital Dive. What are people saying, Alicia?
Yeah, Chris, word of the U.S. airstrike and General Soleimani's death is trending both here at home and across the world. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif tweeting this, calling the airstrike an act of international terrorism. Zarif said the move by the U.S. was extremely dangerous and foolish escalation. However, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tweeting this video saying Iraqis were dancing in the street for freedom and thankful that General Soleimani is no more. Now, late yesterday, President Trump tweeted this image of the American flag, and he hasn't tweeted yet this morning on this matter. And presidential hopeful and Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar tweeting this lengthy response about the potential repercussions of Soleimani's death, saying in part the timing, manner, and potential consequences of the administration's actions raise serious questions and concerns about escalating conflicts. And Senator Bernie Sanders agreeing, tweeting this late last night, saying in part, Trump's dangerous escalation brings us closer to another disastrous war in the Middle East that could cost countless lives and trillions more dollars. Now, we've checked the Twitter pages for the three Republican Minnesota representatives in the House, Hagedorn, Emmer, and Stauber, and none of them have said anything about the airstrike just yet. But yeah, a lot of our Sunrisers are talking about this. The majority of the comments, a lot of folks worry that this is going to start another war.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely lead to that. We'll have to see how this plays out in the coming days, but it could be some tense times ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alicia.